Hey traders, doing an update on oil. I did the first video. It turned out to be 11 minutes long. I don't want it to be 11 minutes long because I know I probably rambled off. So I'm going to redo it and try to cut it. Okay, so I'm bearish oil and profitable. I'm not like perma bear. I used to be long when everybody hated it. And I know there's a fine line where it makes sense. And I don't buy this. I read a headline, I think last night or yesterday, I'm not sure. It was like a headline on Twitter that I swiped on. I didn't even click on it. It said, boom, oil boom. We don't have an oil boom. We have an oil stock boom because of an oil policy, not an oil demand problem. So, or issue problem, the supply problem. So if you read the media, you believe that there's a shortage of oil. There isn't. We have tons of places we can go get oil. We have a shortage of the policy is stopping us from having oil. So the U.S., I don't want to get political, but instead of pumping our own oil or releasing some reserves, we go out to beg from former questionable enemies like Venezuela. I thought he was a bad guy. Now suddenly we want to take his oil, beg him to take his oil. Just silliness. So I don't think we have a demand problem because the whole world is committed to not using as much oil. In fact, the whole world actually committed, that's fact, not fiction, not my opinion, to not make cars that are fossil fuel. So they said transportation is not going to be fossil fuel based. I don't think they can do it, but they officially said it. GM, Ford, Toyota, BMW, everybody. They said no more fossil fuel cars within the next whatever number. Everybody's slightly different number. Let's say 10 years. I don't think they can do it, but that's their commitment. To cut back to eventually none. How is this bullish oil? Also, we're all telecommuting more, zooming more, traveling less, driving less. How is that bullish demand? So we don't have a supply problem because let's say the U.S. got cut off from the world. What are we going to do? Not pump for oil? I doubt it. We're going to pump for oil, right? So we don't have an oil supply problem. We don't have an oil demand boom. We have the perception of both and policies and headlines. So I understand the spike on the 24th in oil. That was this one right here. That was the headline of the war in the Ukraine. That is a fantastic headline. The situation is very grave, and it does disrupt the oil flow in the world. More so for Europe than us. But perception is, holy schmutz, everything is going to hell. Oil is going to the freaking moon. Oil spiked. Look at this messy chart. So aside from opinion, disclosure, I own puts in the USO out in time, weeks out, and I have been selling puts against them short term. In other words, if you don't know options, I am long oil short term, short oil long term. I sound like Dennis Gartman. So short term, I don't want it to fall because I am bearish only long term. So the moral of the story is I booked a lot of profits from being short from the bullish side. And it's like a put diagonal or a put calendar. I've done it several times now. So now I'm okay with it rallying or not rallying. I don't care as long as it falls weeks from now. Okay. So technically, this is a freaking messy chart. You got a gap here and a gap here, a gap here, a gap here, gap, 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 gap. You can thread the needle and not touch anything. That's pretty insane. Like in several different ways. It's pretty insane. So tough to trade. So break it down into little clusters. Let me see here. Oh no, I can't share it that way. I'm sharing it this way. All right, so you have a little cluster here. So I would draw a box around it. Did I do that? Okay, I did. So I would draw a box around it. So for tomorrow, this is the box that's going to come into play. The breach of either side should carry momentum in that direction. So from a trading perspective, I'm no longer talking fundamentals. From a charts perspective, if the bulls can take out 80 rounding, they can probably get to here, maybe even try to fill this gap up to 84. I doubt it, but let's put it in two pieces. I'll leave the first piece on. Too many lines. And then if the bears are able to break below 77 and change, they might fill this gap. And that would make sense. So how do I trade this information? I don't do anything. if I'm an active trader, I can probably trade this, but that would be like, if you're a futures trader, maybe you can do that. With the options, I don't think the USO is liquid enough to do that. This is a 1 hour chart, so every bar is 1 hour. But if you lose this, you can buy a put and fade it down to here. Or you can buy a call when it gets down to here, because it should find support, because that's where support was. That's actively trading, because you get long here hoping for a bounce and you get out. You don't hold it until it comes back down and comes back to here. Okay, so, and if you want to take the upside potential, you buy calls when it comes down to here, hoping that this would hold, and if it doesn't hold, you get out because it's going to here. But if it does hold, then you swing it back up to here, you get out here, or if you're gutsy, you stay long and see if they're going to do that. That's how you trade it actively. So for that, you will probably going to get to be a little bit more granular, which is what I'm doing here. I'm coming down from an hour to 15-minute charts, because those are active trades. Oh, this is the regular trading hour. Let's put the extended. Okay. So now you can see you have lines. You can put an alert. You say, wake me up when this happens, or you put an alert, get out. Up to you. So that's how active traders do it. Slightly slower traders would have to take a thesis. Okay, so what do you believe in oil? I told you what I believe. It doesn't matter for how you trade, because you have your own beliefs. If what I said makes sense, then go with it. If I were to trade it, I would still short it. How? I would sell a call spread above resistance. This looks like a pretty big mess up here. So we would need a seriously big headline to bust through this. So here's how the headlines work on Wall Street. I'm not from Wall Street. I'm just telling you what I've noticed. I'm an engineer that figured this stuff out. So the headline, the first shock headline on February 24th, that's the biggest impact. Oh my God, what? War? And then, oh no, this war is real. Oh my goodness. And then oil collapses, and then it tries to recover the highs. If they can't quickly recover the highs, it's a sign that the headline shock is wearing off, because it's about the same thing. Somebody said this, JPM and Goldman Sachs, same story by different people. You need a new twist. If there's a different development, the US is actually engaging with Russia in war, or NATO decided that they would actually interfere militarily or something, then that might spike it. But in that case, I think the whole market would fall, and I don't think you should invest in any oil companies, because they're all coming down. So I don't think that that's coming. I think the worst of it, as far as headlines in oil, is there already. So that's my perspective on the whole thing. So how is this going to end? Badly. It's going to end badly. So here's the technical ending of it. If this gap fills, they better hold this, because if they don't, they're going to come back to here. Okay, solid footing. This is a strong base for this period of time. However, if you zoom out, that's not a strong base at all. At all. We're still in the stratosphere. So you lose this. This is a strong support, but I think oil will fall to here, bounce one time, and come down into the 50s. What 50s? You freaking moron. I'm just telling you if, then. So lose this gap. This might not hold too long. It holds in the first bounce, comes back. So if I were to draw a line of what I'm saying, this happens short term, the support will come out, they'll bounce. And then they will face the neckline from which they fell and then lose it. If they lost it, they come back to here, and if they can't bounce off of it, then they'll come to here. Boom. That's stint one. Rinse and repeat, the same similar process. Now, if they filled this, they come back to here. Oh, yeah, support. That is strong support. They will bounce, find the problem area as resistance, come back to here, and then rinse and repeat. I'm running out of room. I'll fix it. You get the point? Okay. So this won't stop here. The downside of this is massive because of the height of that. You don't believe in all of this junk. I get it. I'm just telling you, this is how I've seen it unfold over and over. I do this live for 250, 260 people. So it works. If it didn't work, they wouldn't be there. It's not free to be there, so they see value in the stuff. It works. And this would be the trigger. So I'm going to put an alert to myself here. Uh-oh. Come and check it out. So it's not a straight shot down. There's going to be bounces everywhere. And guess what happens? Quietly, the bulls will lose control. The bears will make progress in selling rips. That behavior is what you should pay attention to. Are they selling rips consistently with lower highs, trying to hold the floor? Eventually, the floor could break, and if they do, as high as this thing is, I don't think they fall that much. Mathematically, I give them 68, $8. So 54 to 56 target, my opinion, not fact. Now this is my opinion. If they lose this, to lose this, they need to lose this. To lose this, they need to first lose this. You see what I mean? So if this happens, this happens. This is likely to happen. Come back to here. I don't know if they bounce, but if they don't bounce, they're going to do this and come back to here and rally here. I don't know if they bounce. If they don't bounce, they're coming to here. And then that's the big one. So I'm giving them credit only for this much downside. Look, I put the arrow here. That red arrow. Look how close that red arrow was. It's very accurate. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to be generous. Look at this. It matches up with this tint right here. All right. That's long enough. What did I get? 11. God dang it. Okay, I'm not going to do it again. This is it.